Hi, I'm going to describe the Enlightenment era. The Enlightenment era typically is considered to start in the 1600s, middle 1600s to late 1600s. The Enlightenment era had a lot of different philosophies and different ideas. The big thing that was a push for the Enlightenment era that I love the fact of is Sir Isaac Newton. His early thoughts upon the universe, upon how God had made the universe, and how it was rational, that it made sense that we could literally grow in our knowledge, grow in our understanding of not just the world around us, but also how we're meant to function by deducting from how the world works and how God made it. Another thing I liked, or that's about the era that is important to keep in mind is historically it is set at a time kind of a peak of oppression in a sense religiously. There have been the Catholic Church had ruled the world basically at this point. And if you did not fall in line with what the Pope had planned or said, then it was heresy and you would die. Protestantism, of course, came out of the Enlightenment. So, with that being said, I like the Enlightenment era primarily because of the religious implications, but also the scientific implications. The biggest question that people had during this period, the thing that made people get stirred up, was the question of why. Why? Why is it that only the Pope has an access to God? Why is it? And when Martin Luther went through and simply was just trying to translate the Bible into the Vulgate, the German, he found that this is, as he would read through it, this is not what he was taught in Mass. This was not what the Pope had said necessarily was what the Bible was reading. This stirred in him a great anger, a great passion that others would also follow in, like John Calvin, Blaurock, and the Anabaptists. So there were many, many men that were stirred up in a desire to not only answer the question of why, but answer the question of why is it this way, and why can we not see truth in our society? One other thing that really stood out to me, one event, I know it says to describe a place or an event that demonstrates the style the most, I would say the American Revolution. We as Americans often look back, July 4th, we think of these things as just givens, and they become almost just historical facts that we just take, and we really don't see what people gave in order for us to have what we have today. One big thing, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, that these were things that we take for granted. It's every person is entitled, if you will. I hate that word, but is given a right to the pursuit of happiness, a right for certain things that up until this point the world never had. Only those that were rich and powerful, only those that were in charge had these rights, if you will. But the common man had the same value in the eyes of God, and that's where it originated. Even Sir Isaac Newton said that God made the universe just as a clockmaker would make a clock, but this clockmaker made the perfect clock that did not need intervention. This clockmaker knew and created every sprog and every gear the way it meant to be, and then he set it into motion. So, though many people look at John Locke from the American side and they have different views of him, no matter who you are, no matter what you think, his questions and his rationale of the reasoning is the law of nature was very profound, and it really gave a lot of push, a lot of momentum to the Enlightenment era. And I think many people came out because there was, again, this building, this peak of oppression that was happening, and that it stirred in people on every level from their hearts of religious desire and passion to know God, their desire to be treated as people, to be treated as they knew that they should be, and the desire of scientific revolution that came as well, that we could think for ourselves. We didn't just have to accept things as they were. We could really think for ourselves. And that really is where the American dream came from. And we often don't give it credit there. But that is my overview of the Enlightenment period. That is my look at it, and that's something that I really do enjoy, is the Enlightenment period. It's something that I talk about with families, something I talk about with friends. And as a Protestant believer, the